In this next video, we're going to talk about reflections, translations, and then rotations. So when we talk about reflections, reflecting a point, we're going to be reflecting across the x-axis, the y-axis, or the origin. So we're going to start with this ordered pair, and the letter A is at 1, 4. When you reflect the point over the x-axis, you're going to go down to touch the x-axis and then touch that much more. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. To get to the x-axis, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 more, and this is a reflection across the x-axis. Then we'll call that A prime, because that's the first reflection that we did. And my point is 1, -4. The next point is to reflect across the y-axis. So when we reflect across the y-axis, I go and touch the y-axis. So it looks like I went 1 to touch the y-axis. I'm just going to go 1 on the other side, and I'm going to call this A double prime, because that's the second reflection that we did. And we're at -1, 4. The last reflection that we're going to do is across the origin. So I'm going to start at the letter A, and the origin is at 0, 0. So I'm going to go across the origin. We're going to end up directly on the other side at -1, -4. Same thing applies for point B. So when I reflect over, this says the y-axis. When I reflect over the y-axis, I'm going to go over to touch the y-axis. So it looks like I count 1, 2, 3 to the y-axis. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3 more. So we're at -3, -2. When I reflect over the origin, we're going to go across. So I'm going to go to 3, -3, 2. And finally, when we reflect across the x-axis, I go up to touch the x-axis, 1, 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2 more. So we're at 3, 2. So that is how we reflect a point. The same thing were to work if you were to reflect a segment. So when I reflect a segment, you separately do each point. So we start at A and go that much more, then go to B, and then go that much more. Over the x-axis, over the y-axis, or across the origin. The next thing that we're going to learn is translations. So when I translate a point, we use a very specific mapping. This symbol denotes that we are going to be translating. If we have x plus, we're talking about the right. If we have x minus, we're talking about the left. So moving left and right. When we have y plus, we're going up, and y minus, we're going down. So in here, we're just going to describe the transformation taking place. So for this number 1, this symbol denotes that we are going to be translating. And it looks like the only thing that we're doing is y plus 1, which means that we're going up 1. In this, we're moving 2 directions. So this x minus 4 means I'm moving left 4, and then y minus 2, which means that we're moving down 2. For the next one, x plus 3, we're going to the right 3. Y plus 8 means that we're going up 8. X minus 1, left 1. Y, we're not moving anywhere. The next one, we have x minus 3, which means we're moving left 3 and down 3 also. And then finally, there is no translation. So now we're actually going to translate this segment. So we're starting at -3, 5, and then B is at 3, 1. So when we translate, I'm doing each point separate. So for this problem, we're moving to the right 2, and then I'm moving down 4. So for A, I'm going to go right 2, 1, 2, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And then we have to do B. So I'm going to go right 2, 1, 2, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll call this A prime, and we'll call this B prime. So I'm separately moving each point right 2 and down 4. For this next one, I'm going left 3 and up 1. So do each point separate. 1, 2, 3, up 1. Here's A prime. And we have 1, 2, 3, up 1. Here's B prime. And then for this next one, letter C, I'm only going down 5. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A prime. B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's B prime. The next thing that we're going to do is rotations. So when I rotate 90 degrees clockwise, all right, clockwise about the origin, think about like a clock around in a circle. So my rule is that my numbers flip. Depending on the quadrant, depends on the symbols. So if we're in the first quadrant, we have positive, positive. Second quadrant, negative, positive. Third quadrant, negative, negative. And then fourth quadrant, positive, negative. So we're going to be flipping the numbers, and then based on the quadrant, we're going to put our symbols. Now when we go 90 degrees clockwise, that's the one that we're going to focus on, 90 degrees clockwise, we're going to be going around to the right. So notice that in this picture, I have a triangle and it's rotated 90 degrees to the right. So I'm in a totally new quadrant. So let's try letter A. So first we're going 90 degrees clockwise, which means that we're going to end up in this quadrant. And the next one, we go 90 degrees clockwise, I'm going to end up in this quadrant. When I go 90 degrees clockwise, I'm moving into this quadrant, and then finally 90 degrees clockwise, that quadrant. Depending on the quadrant, depends on the symbols. So we are starting by flipping the signs. So we're going to start at negative 9, 2. So I'm going to take the numbers 9 and 2 and flip them around. So it's 2, 9. Based on this quadrant where it's positive, positive, that means I'm going to have a positive 2 and a positive 9. Positive 2 up 9. Here is my A prime. For the next one, we're starting at 6, 4. So I'm going to take the numbers 6 and 4 and I'm going to flip them around. It's going to be 4, 6. Then, when we're in this quadrant, x's are positive, y's are negative. So we have positive, negative, positive, negative. I'm going to go over 4 and then down to 6. Here is A prime. The next one, I'm going to take 3, negative 4. That's my ordered pair. So 3, and then the number 4, we're going to flip it around. So it's going to be 4, 3. In this quadrant, y's are negative, and so are the x's, negative, negative. So it's negative 4, negative 3. Over 4, down 3. We're going to go ahead and plot that point, A prime. And then finally, the last one, we're starting at negative 3, negative 8. I'm going to take my numbers, 3 and 8, we're going to flip them around. It's going to be 8, 3. In that quadrant that we're in, it's negative, positive. X's are negative, y's are positive. So we have negative 8, positive 3. Here is my point. For 180 degrees clockwise, my rule is they stay the same. So we're going from A over to C. So we're totally in a new quadrant. So let's talk about when we rotate 180 degrees. I'm going 90, 180. We go 90, 180. And then we go 90, 180. And we go 90, 180. So we're totally going past 2 quadrants. So we're going to start by writing down the order pair, the original. So we're at negative 9, 2. You're going to take the numbers and you're going to keep them in the same order. So it's going to be 9, 2. Depending on the quadrant, depends on what the symbols are. We have 9, negative 2. Do it again. So we have 6, 4. You're going to keep the numbers in the same order. So it's going to be 6 and 4 again. And depending on the quadrant, it means that my signs are changing. If I'm going too fast for you, go ahead and pause the video. So we're starting by writing down the ordered pairs. So we have 3, negative 4. You're going to take the numbers and you're going to flip them around. So it's going to, wait, this is 180, so it stays in the same order. So we have 3, 4. And because we're in this quadrant, it's going to be negative, positive. So we have negative 3, and then we're going up 4. And then last but not least, we're at -3, -8. We're going to take the numbers, and it's going to be in the same order. So we have 3, 8, and in this quadrant, positive, positive. So they stay 3 and 8. The last rule for 180 degrees, 270 degrees clockwise, my rule is that the numbers flip again. All right, so we're going 90, 180, 270. So let's see, we're going past 3, 1, 2, 3. So again, 90, 180, 270. And again, 90, 180, 270. And again, 90, 180, 270. All right, so here we go. So we're at -9, 2. You're going to take these numbers and you're going to totally flip them. So it's going to be 2, 9. Because I'm in this particular quadrant, we have negative, negative. So I'm going to put negative, negative, -2, -9. There's my point. For the next one, we're at 6, 4. You're going to take the numbers and flip them around. So we have 4, 6. We've gone past 3 quadrants. In this quadrant, negative, positive. So -4, positive 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's my point. So right here, we're at 3, -4. You're going to take the numbers, don't worry about the sign, and you're going to totally flip them around. It's going to be 4, 3. In this quadrant, positive, positive, so I'm going to go over 4 and up 3. There's my point. This last one, we're at 3, -3, -8. You're going to take the numbers and flip them around. So it's going to be 8 and then 3. In this quadrant, positive, negative, and there's my point. To rotate a segment, the same rules apply. So when we rotate this segment 180 degrees clockwise, you're going to take each individual point and you're going to do whatever that rule is for that point. So for A, I'm starting at -3, 5. Same order, so we keep the order based on the quadrant that we're in. To go 180 degrees or 180 degrees, we're able to plot the points. The 90 and 270, both of those rules are to flip. So each one, make sure that you're going past 3 quadrants in order to get to the new ordered pair. Whatever symbols are in that quadrant, that is the exact one that you're pointing. That's the point that you make. The last section is rotational symmetry. So rotational symmetry is when you are able to rotate an object a certain number of degrees. The order of symmetry is the number of positions where it looks exactly the same. So each of these, so I start at the beginning, 1. This first one has an order of 4. Then from there, what you do is you find the degree by taking 360 divided by that order number. So I took 360 divided by 4 to get 90. After that, 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. So we have 4 orders, we have 4 degrees. In this next one, you can rotate this twice to have the exact same image. So my order's 2, my degrees are 180 and then 360. So again, 360 divided by 2 is 180. Start there, add it on, and you get 360. The next one, my order is 3. So I take 360 divided by 3 to get 120. So I start at 120, get to the next one by 120 plus 120, 240. To the next one, 240 plus 120 is 360. And this last one, I only have an order of 1. So let's go from start to finish. We'll do number 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my order is 6. So from there we do 360 divided by 6 to get 60. So we're starting at 60. 60 plus 60, 120. 120 plus 60, 180. 180 plus 60, 240. 240 plus 60, 300. And then 300 plus 60 is 360. So we are rotating, physically rotating that object 6 times, and we have our degree measures.